I realized I have the career and the life that looks like the dream. But are you really happy, Emma? Are you really healthy? And have to admit to myself that I wasn't was one of the scariest things I've ever had to do. Yes. I think I mentioned, but I read your book because my dear friend, Nupa, told me that I should. And every now and again, I would see you come up on my feed. I don't spend much time on Instagram anymore, but when I did, I just felt like you were having a different conversation. And it's not that I have stopped doing interviews because I want to hide myself away. I think it's because I wanted to be able to have a certain type of conversation that I didn't seem able to find a space for. And so I called Nupa and said, I think I just reached out to Jay to see if he would let me come and do his podcast on Monday. And she was like, I've been waiting for this. I wondered when you would do this. I was like, how did you know I was going to do it? She's like, I don't know. I just felt like this was coming. So here I am. And you said yes. And the timing worked. I contacted you last week and it's Monday. And so such a big part of my job was trying to think 3 steps ahead of how everything that I would say could negatively impact the film that I was trying to do justice to and do service to, and make sure that people understood what the director had intended. And I felt this enormous sense of responsibility all the time to honor so many people's work that put together something like a film, or, you know, even to some degree, I just did a fragrance with Prada, and it's the first perfume bottle that you can like refill. And I don't know, I take my job seriously, I guess. And so interviews to me felt a lot like chess, and it required so much energy. And I think what's nice about the way that I'm showing up today is I'm just showing up for myself. And for once, I'm not here to speak on behalf of anyone else or anything else other than myself, which is unusual. 100%. And I think within those contexts, everyone is trying to be as authentic as they humanly can be. But there's something about, I think it's why I mentioned earlier about why I felt like this was a good space, is there's something inherently written into certain types of forms of media, which is that it doesn't matter what intention or how authentically you want to show up, the form like somehow doesn't allow it to some degree. And I've become obsessed with this recently. I've been looking at, okay, what is written into the form of something like Twitter or Instagram or TikTok or a podcast or a photograph versus a film versus a piece of writing. And it's really interesting to see what a different medium or different form allows or doesn't allow, or like actually creates or encourages. I've never done a podcast before, but I think what I love about it is the intimacy of it. It's like, I feel like people listen to podcasts when they're like, I certainly do anyway, like first thing in the morning when I'm taking my shower or I'm going on my walk or I'm making my breakfast. It's really like personal, intimate time. And I think the long form version of these kinds of conversations allows for such a different kind of discussion that I didn't think was possible before. I recently started riding a bicycle, and yes, I started riding a bicycle before my driving ban, but now it's particularly fortuitous that I also ride a bicycle for that reason. I was getting phone calls like, it's on the BBC, it's on international worldwide news. I was like, my shame is everywhere. This is, I mean, what I say, I don't know. I think in a funny way, what the sweetest result of it was getting so many messages from people being like, happened to me too. I feel you. This is awful. It sucks. Which was kind of nice in a way. But
you want a lift.
Yeah, totally. Do you need a lift? I was like, actually, yes. But I think, again, it's funny. Like I went from, when you work on movies, I don't know if people know this, but like, they literally will not insure you to drive yourself to work. I've asked so many times, you have to be driven. It's like not a choice. And especially because they need you there, down to the minute, basically, depending on what they have going on. And so I went from basically only driving myself on weekends or during holiday to then when I became a student, driving myself all the time. And yeah, I did not have the experience or skills, clearly, which I now will and do. But I think, again, this was one of these like awkward transitions I made from kind of living this like very, very structured life to living a life where I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to get myself to this place and I'm going to like do this thing that I've basically not done since I was 10 years old. So it's been a discovery and a journey that's been, I guess humbling, because on a movie set, I'm able to do all of these like extremely complex things, stunts, sing, dance, like do this thing, do that, whatever. And I'm like, yep. Don't worry about it, guys. No worries. I've got you. And then I get home and I'm like, okay, Emma, you seem unable to remember keys. You seem unable to like keep yourself at 30 miles an hour in a 30 mile speed limit. Like you don't seem able to do some pretty like basic life things. And it was definitely kind of, I had days where I just wanted to turn around to people and be like, I used to be good at things, okay? I used to be really good at things. And I know it doesn't look like that right now, but I used to, I can do things normally. So yeah, it's been humbling. Thank you for that confession. I appreciate that so much. Actually, a lot of people have like taken it upon themselves to come and confess to me, which I found like very endearing and like really, really appreciate it. But no, I think, I think something I've been realizing is most of us live in a state of like, I'm just trying to kind of figure it out and keep it together. And the only thing that is different between us is people's willingness to be honest about that, the degree to which they can admit to, actually, I'm just like scrabbling around trying to keep the pieces together, versus, oh yeah, no, everything's amazing and everything's incredible and I'm having the best day ever and aren't you? And, so I do love the people who are just willing to be like, yeah, it's not going so well today. I'm like, great, amazing, what a good starting point. Like, I don't know, failure as a starting point feels like, I feel like attempting things is so compelling. And of course, success is wonderful, but I love to see people who are like, I'm really bad at this, but I'm going to try. Like, I love you. That's everything to me. Yes. Well, two things I want to say there is, I think in a way I was I'm someone who's always cared about vulnerability and authenticity, but I think I was also forced into it to a degree that maybe even I wasn't ready for, and that like I just started so young that like I had to learn in public. I had to make mistakes in public and say, oh, okay, now I've learned this. And I had to be willing to go back and be like, like there were some gaps here. And here's what I know now. And I think I agree with you. I think it's becoming increasingly difficult to learn in public and continuing to learn. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why I have gone back to school and why I continue to do it, is because I want to make sure that I have things to say that are worth saying. And I think you can only do that if you take a minute sometimes and listen to some people who aren't you, and like not just the sound of my own wonderful voice. So yeah, it's been great. And I think also I wanted to be inspired. I think my favorite piece has been being around young people who still believe that the world is malleable and things are changeable and that like anything can be done is such important energy. There's so much dystopian fiction at the moment and dystopian movies. It's
all dark.
It's so dark. And I'm just like, what happened to thinking about the utopia? What happened to like planning for the best case scenario? Like where did we lose vision, excitement, imagination, possibility? So I think it's been it's been wonderful to be around young people and just to sit there and listen, frankly.
Yeah.
Do you ever, you clearly read so much. Do you have to take yourself away to do it in order to be able to do it? Do you have to cordon off time? Like, how are you still managing to study and learn? Because that seems like it's important to you.
Yeah.
I'm the same as you. And actually, someone who I really respect and ask for advice for often, and I ask for feedback on myself, he said to me, Emma, I think if you did 90% of what you wanted to do at 50% of the speed, you would get so much more, like life would be so much better. And I was like, wow, 50% of the speed and only 90% of what I want to do. And he was like, I think that's the minimum, to be honest. Yeah. And I was like, wow. But I think what you said resonates. I think I often have to remind myself that it's not about speedily getting somewhere. It's just not the point. Things are supposed to happen with a certain timing. And so, resonates. And to your point, I cannot just sit for 30 minutes and look at something. Yeah. I need kind of like a week on holiday, and then I'll start to deeply get into something, and I need quiet, and I hyper-focus, and that's when I love it. But I can't do little itty bitty bits. It just drives me nuts.
It just doesn't work.
It doesn't work. So
it doesn't work for me.
It resonates. Yeah, I think the big one was feminism and intersectional feminism, and frankly, it just like wasn't taught. I had to really seek out, and I'm really grateful actually that I was in many ways quite lovingly called in, as opposed to, some of it was not, but I think that was definitely a moment where I had to say, okay, I'm talking about something really big and important, and it's actually really important to sit this in some context, which I have not done. And I think that was a big moment. I think it was more, there was an omission, there was things that were missing, as opposed to I'd said something wrong. I just needed to fill in more gaps. And so that was when I started, or that was actually in the middle. I had a feminist book club called Ard Shad Shelf. And so that was part of those conversations. But it was a good moment for me to learn that feeling uncomfortable sometimes is good. I think we have an alarm system that goes off, which is like, I'm uncomfortable, this feels uncomfortable, so something bad must be happening and I must leave as soon as possible. And actually, I think that was when I started to learn, actually me being uncomfortable in a space might be a good sign, because it might mean I'm about to learn something. And I want to attribute this, that was Mara I Larasai who helped me understand that. And was a very, very valuable teaching. So now when I'm in a space and listening to things and I feel uncomfortable, I don't think it means I need to bolt or something bad's happening.
Yeah.
Maybe something really good is about to happen. Yeah.